I know.
All right. Good afternoon. Let's get started for today. Thank you for making it either as an audience or as a presenter that is scheduled to share your small group observation for today. This is day 2 of presentations. We have a shorter set of presentations for today, so there's something I'll have you do at the beginning of class in just a minute before we get on that. Just as a quick note about remaining days, we're presenting today. We have our final round of presentations on Friday. We do not have any sort of face-to-face or remote meeting for the final or any sort of cumulative final exam. Instead, make sure you're completing the week 9 quiz by the 19th, along with the extra credit opportunity and any remaining outstanding assignments that you have. So if you've missed more than 3 classes, you can submit makeup assignments and just get those in by the end of the day on the 19th to make up any sort of remaining credit as you gear up for the end of the term. So we have 5 people that are presenting today in just a minute. I was able to download and pull up these slides for all 5 of you. So thank you so much for sending that to me in advance. And I'm looking forward to hearing all of your work and presentations. Again, as a reminder for those of you presenting today, I'll give time signals. This is when you have 2 minutes remaining and you've used 4 minutes. This is when you have 1 minute remaining, and then I'll do a fist to indicate that you're at time and that you should finish up your thought or idea. So all good to go there. Just like last time, if you are not presenting today, then I will ask you to complete an activity for attendance where you're just observing some of the things that you noticed of at least 2 other presentations in the class, what they observed, what stood out to you, what they noticed that connected to the course. If you are presenting today, right, then aside from listening to other presenters, just completing your own presentation is fine. So just to let you know, expectations there. So because we have some extra time for today, only 5 presenters, I want to use a little bit of time for people who need to finish preparation for their presentations. So on the 27th or 28th of February, you should have received an email requesting that you complete course evaluations on Canvas. If you have a device with you, I would like you to pull that up. That can work on either mobile or a laptop or tablet. So please, if you haven't done so already, take the time to complete that on Canvas. That way you can get all of that entered if you have extra time. You can even complete that for other courses if you haven't already done so. And then after that, just take some time if you're presenting today. Just make sure you have everything in order with your notes and everything that you need to get going. It is currently 1:03, and I think it's a little awkward for me to stand here while you are working on that. So I will step out for just a minute, give you the chance to work on and complete evals if you haven't done so already. I will return at 1:13, and then we will get going on these 5 presentations for today. So I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah. I know, I just did that. Yeah, you start pumping this right before.
Really? There you go, Byron.
Yeah. But it even today, yeah, he went over like questions and then like had us answer them. He's like, oh, really? So like actual questions. Yeah. Like, yeah. Oh, yeah. Style, just figure it out. Basically, just everything that's study time. He like what? But like, didn't tell me.
Shows in the back.
I'll turn it right over to you. Study. But it's 10 pages. So it's, yeah. I like scrolled through it. And I was like, all right, I'm good.
All I can say.
I'm good.
Yeah. It's so weird too. When we're outside, if there's snowing, when I went inside. No, it's a rough way. Yeah.
Went to the train to Coach's.
Kind of.
You what?
Kind of. She was, it was like, we were doing like a weird hand adjustment. And then I was doing what she really good. And I started just going a little faster because I felt confident. And then when they was like, oh, just let's go slow. And I was like, oh, yeah, I felt confident. And I kept doing, I was doing like, yeah, I'm accent. Split up a little bit. And I lost my balance a little bit. And the team was like, hey, you're supposed to get slow. And I just yelled, yeah, and we're not the coach. And then got really quiet. Yeah. Yeah.
Yay. And then the one is between.
You guys missed that.
All day, all night.
You're on.
Maggie, Michelle. Michelle and Jesse. The night we flew in the boys. You guys staying there? You know what you're talking about.
Then you did like 2 o'clock.
Luckily, cars hauling ass
You guys did.
to and from but Ben had to bring his cold. And there's a pitch. Especially Connor driving. He was like, "Oh, nice," and she goes, "Oh God." She was in the middle seat and she's like, "Oh, Connor, why should I come over?" He's trying to talk to Jesse and he's just like, "Look at him," and
I hate it.
this is not the time. He messed around. We eat in the house. But I did go to one. And there was a restaurant. Strong dip. Oh, we did go brunch. Story. That was really good. Yeah. Chicken and force. I need that. Small chocolate.
That's a cool. Yeah. Even there.
I mean, that's way over there.
I've never seen it. And I was talking to Joe. It's a good question.
Correctional center.
Perfect. Tell that.
Yeah.
That. That one. I was wondering what it would pop up. I was like, what is that? I was like, that's in the school. Like, big deal. That's not.
Kids, it's like.
You're outside of the kitchen.
They're all in there like 20-minute break outside.
Seven. Okay. Only 6 hours.
We should give them a spike today.
We can throw it in.
Who cares? It's like a skiff. It's probably not anything I can feel that. The 30s. It was like 45 and stuff.
The second trip. It was 4 hours. So that's- Oh,
Anybody else who's finishing up? Okay. All right. So now that we've done that, let's take some time to get going on today's presentations. So we've got 5 presentations today. We'll work through those in order. Gabe will be our first person presenting for today. So, Ray, got the slideshow there. We're welcome to click, use arrows either direction. Oh yeah. So you can either use the left mouse click right here and also use the arrows on either side to move between them. Yeah, no worries. Back here and you ready? One. All right, go for it.
So the club I chose to observe was the Ag Entrepreneur Club. Just a little background on it. It's kind of like the Agriculture Club, but it's more of the business side of it. It's more of like how to make money, how it works, and just how they do their business. When, where, and how the club was going. This meeting was held in Zabel Hall, room 224. The meeting was at 6 p.m. March 2nd. The meeting was face-to-face in a conference room, and there was about 10 people in the meeting. Perfect go. Oh, why did I choose this club? I've always had an interest in agriculture, and I thought it would be really cool to understand the business side of it as well. And another cool thing about the group itself is it's a very new group, and I gotta see how they talking about getting new members and how they just want to get their group out there. Because I think they started in the winter quarter, like this quarter, and maybe a little bit in the fall, but they only had like 6 members, and they had a couple other people observing their meeting. So I gotta see that, like how a group is trying to get well known, which is really cool. And I just think for everybody, it's just awesome to see how our farms work and how we get our food and produce and just how we get our stuff we eat. The topics they discussed in the meeting was making a social media account. They were trying to make one on Instagram, and then they were also talking about what posts they want to do and what kind of platform they want to show to everybody. They also want to know how to get more members, and that's when I kind of got get chimed into the meeting, even though I wasn't in the club. They were asking me like, what would you do to get new members into this club? I said to put out flyers, and also the social media page would be great. And I said to also post on it consistently. And then one of the other topics they had is what food to bring to their upcoming event. And in that instinct, the leader was just asking the group members, what do you guys think? And then he was also participating in the talk. And then also making a logo for the club. That was just another one they all talked about, and they were just trying to figure it out. Finding guest speakers, that was another event they were trying to plan. They were trying to get some business owners to come in and talk about how they run their businesses and just the marketing side of it, and making some merch. They want to get some t-shirts, but also they need to make a logo for that. How the meeting was organized. The meeting had 2 leaders standing at a whiteboard, and on the whiteboard they had a list of topics they wanted to go over in the meeting. They went down the list, talking to the group and letting everyone pitch their ideas. Their topics varied from old problems they had and just new ideas they had. Everyone was respected and treated equally in the meeting. They sat in like a U shape facing the whiteboard so everyone could look at each other as well while they discussed. It was a very relaxed meeting, but it was also very professional. What I learned in the meeting, I gotta see how a well-organized meeting and a very successful meeting looks like. I also got to observe deck plate leadership, because their leaders were very involved in the communication part of it. They were talking to the members, and the leaders were still trying to find solutions to the problems and just let everybody communicate and feel respected. And that's all I got.
Great work. Thank you so much, Gabe, for getting us started for today. In talking about the Ag Entrepreneur Club, I thought you did a really good job of sort of describing the physical dynamics of the meeting location, like the U shape, the way that the physical spacing between people allowed for these sort of natural moments of connection. I also thought you did a great job of discussing the sort of agenda, goals, like recruiting guests and so on as well, right? I've had a couple other folks look at this club, and it's really interesting to see how a newer club or organization is developing, bringing in members, and choosing to organize their first meeting. So you did a great job of getting us started and thinking about some of these ideas. So excellent work. All right, so next up on our list, go ahead and pull up our second speaker. So Caleb, we'll have you share next. I will go ahead and get all the stuff up for you. So use left click and arrows.
Okay, I chose the Copperhead Jiu-Jitsu gym in the Grand Oregon. I met with them on 4:30 to 6 p.m. Wednesday, February 23rd. They traditionally meet 3 times a week, but occasionally will meet 4 times a week on a weekend. The practices are held at their gym on Washington Avenue. There were 10 group members in attendance, including the 2 instructors. And I chose this meeting because I have a history with jujitsu and I feel like it's an environment I'm comfortable describing. The meeting structure was pretty standard when it comes to a sports-related meeting. You begin by warming up. Once everyone's there, they'll have you jog, do stretches, various exercises. And then they start the instruction. So in the instruction, they'll have the two professors, or no, sorry, not professors, instructors. More in the middle, you have the group circled around them, and they're showing, I like the way they did it. So they showed the position, the submission, and then the defense for the submission over the course of the practice. So they started by showing people how to get into the position, the submission from the position, which is actually that exact submission that guy's doing, and then how to get out of it if someone were to get that submission on you. So the organization of that was pretty good. It's the exact same as my old gym, so that's interesting. After instruction, you'll grapple against each other for 1 5-minute round, and then you switch partners until everyone decides they're done. Leadership and management. Okay, so the main gym owner and the main instructor, his name is George Martinez. He's a purple belt, and I have the belt ranking for jiu-jitsu right here. So white belt, blue belt, purple belt. Usually you're supposed to be a black belt to own your own gym, but this is a very new gym. I think it's only been here for about 6 months. And he really does understand what he's trying to teach, so I have no problem with him. He focuses on group progress. He helps minimize distraction when he's instructing. And he's a really good communicator, I've noticed, at least with the people that are around. Sarah Dean is the assistant instructor. That's not a question I've asked. I didn't ask if she was an emergent leader. I just got the feeling that she was based on how she was acting. She tries to help confuse group members, but sadly, she is more uncertain when instructing, and you can tell that she doesn't have the jiu-jitsu knowledge that George does at all. And she's also a blue belt, so not enough to be an instructor in my opinion. All their group members, because this is a new group, they were all white belts, so there's no specialists and planners when it comes to martial arts. They did very well at staying focused. Their conversation was focused. They talked about jiu-jitsu, not a lot of other life things. They were split up between completer finishers and team workers, and our textbook describes completer finishers as anxious, detail-oriented, and conscientious. Searches out for errors and omissions. So these people would continuously ask questions about the same technique being shown. They'd ask to see it multiple times, and you could tell by the way they were watching that they were scared to not understand it. The team workers are described as cooperative, perceptive, mild, and diplomatic, avoids tension and listens. So these people didn't ask questions about the same techniques being shown. They were more concerned about things not being shown about that technique that were shown. So I learned that this group has good meeting organization. Their communication is really focused and on topic. Their leadership strategy was mostly effective. Instruction was concise. George is intelligent in what he's teaching. So I feel it's a good environment for his group to learn. And again, he had very good communication with the group members. The group members seem interested and eager to learn. So that's very good, especially in a martial art situation where it can be very uncomfortable trying to have someone literally try to attack you while you're trying to attack them. So it's interesting, you'll have older group members, you'll have a very mixed dynamic. So you really get to see how different people kind of react in that situation. This group could definitely benefit from having higher level grapplers come in and grapple with them. I feel like it's hard for beginners to learn from other beginners. And the two coaches do well at getting in with them, grappling with them, trying to teach them everything they can. But sometimes you need a peer that's at a higher level than you to compete with. And that's all I got. Does anybody have any questions or anything?
All right, great work. Thank you, Caleb. Incidentally, I did Kempo martial arts when I was younger, got to a brown belt, had some fun. And I think it was interesting to hear some of the group dynamics as it relates to expertise, right? I thought you did a great job highlighting like that, yes, there's a lot of new members, people that aren't familiar with the group, so you're not going to see some of these roles in development self-perception inventory, but you also highlighted how like leadership experience, like with instruction and with making instruction a meaningful experience is important, right? That there's this balance between giving new people like that person you mentioned the opportunity to participate, but also feeling like, newness might mean that somebody is not yet ready to have that kind of role. So I felt you did an interesting job here of comparing sort of experience and the impact that experience might bring on the overall group dynamics and instruction. So I thought you did a great job of using and incorporating concepts from the class there for sure. All right, third on our list, we have Bell. So I will go ahead and get everything up for you, Bell. And whenever you're ready, have you come up and share. Yeah, it is click or arrows to advance either way.
So for my group, I chose a 4-H club over in North Powder. I chose this because I think 4-H is a really important thing for kids to do and might help them in life a lot. We met at the leader Wendy Bingham's house face to face. She has 2 kids in it currently, and like all of her kids are in it. The meeting was at 7:30, March 2nd. It's usually not that late, but a lot of kids have like sports practice, so they had to go kind of whenever it would work. There were 6 kids, grades 4th through 6th grade in attendance. There's usually 8 kids there, I think. And that used to be my 4-H club until I went to Thane High School. My little brother is currently in the club, and 4-H taught me a lot of like really important life lessons, like leadership skills, work ethic, how to work in groups, and giving back to the community and giving me responsibilities that I wouldn't have maybe if I wasn't in it. So Wendy had an itinerary that I looked at, and there's a bunch of activities on it, but there wasn't really a time frame like with the activities, and I like that because the kids were pretty young and there was a lot of distractions. So we got through most of the activities, but not all of them. So during the meeting, they elected club offices like president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. The activities were fun and they included everybody in attendance and even some of the little siblings that came. The communication was really good. Everybody talked a lot and had a say in what's happening and gave their ideas. We made posters of the steer anatomy and different cuts of beef and kind of combined that into stall cards. The meeting was very well directed at the age group there. No one got bored. It was organized, but not super micromanaged. And not everything on the itinerary got discussed due to going off topic, but the most important things did get covered. And yeah, a lot of little siblings came, and so it kind of made it hectic, but it was fun. Wendy's leadership style is very much adaptation and rolling with the punches, quick thinking when things didn't go exactly as planned. She made up different activities that went along with the same goals. Wendy was originally planning on making separate stall cards at fair, but they ended up just combining them with the beef cut posters because that was taking a while to color and finish all of them. One thing I learned from the meeting was to know who your members are and like what they're able to accomplish. Things like age, interests, timeframes, and like outside factors like sports practice in this case. I think this meeting was a good choice because it kind of gave a different dynamic of a meeting than what we've been talking about class with age group. There were many different forms of leadership in Wendy, the adaptation one, and then also delegating to the club president when we elected her. And then all the members got a chance to speak their minds on different issues. They've all known each other pretty much all their lives, so they're really comfortable with each other. And there was a lot of discussion about their fundraisers, pretty much anything else that they were talking about. The way they came to conclusions was just a really simple vote, and everybody got a say, and everybody seemed to like the end results. I think Winnie did a good job running the meeting and making a 4-H a fun outlet for the kids. That's all.
Thanks so much for sharing, Val. So I think there were some interesting points here that you made about sort of group membership and some of the things that help this group be run effectively. I like the point you raised toward the end here about how really knowing who the members are and what they're able to accomplish is crucial, right? If you're a group leader or group facilitator, your ability to delegate and let people focus on areas they're skilled and talented in is a super important way to make that meeting run smoothly. I also like the way that you kind of provided some explanation about the sort of benefits that this club has to the kids involved, right? Really doing a good job of explaining its utility, its benefits, what the organization is able to do for the population that it's impacting. Is of course sort of a reiteration of core values and goals that a lot of major groups need to do. So I thought you did a good job here of explaining the significance and importance of the group you're a part of or observed for this meeting. And using that in a way that was really meaningful. So good work here. Our fourth presenter for today is JP. So downloaded presentation should be right here. Awesome. Oh yeah, what's up?
I'm not on the list.
Oh yes, so we'll have you added as well. We'll be able to. So yeah, arrows or click.
Alrighty, so the group I decided to observe was the Eastern Oregon League of Legends esports team. And so about the meeting, it was held Tuesday, February 22nd. It was held online over Discord and the game League of Legends. There's only 4 people counting me. There's a head coach, an assistant coach, and 1 player. It was a very small group. They don't even have a full team yet. I chose this meeting because I play a lot of video games as a hobby, and I play League of Legends as well. And I figured that if I'm going to spend some time doing it, I might as well, make it somewhat useful, I guess, in a sense. And figured I'm interested in possibly joining. I'll kind of hit 2 birds with 1 stone and learn about him and also get this done. So a little background on what League is. It's a 5v5 team-based game. You'll have to work together as a team to win. It's a MOBA, which is a multiplayer online battle arena, which is kind of a big arena that you get thrown in. And the goal is to destroy the enemy nexus in the base, which is just a big gem that you have to work as a team to go and destroy to win the game. So the structure and organization, it was a very informal meeting. I mean, even for like a practice, it was pretty informal. There wasn't like a schedule of what we're gonna do to like practice and stuff. It was very much you show up and kind of see what goes on. The coach did seem to have the idea of what he wanted to talk about. It was no like written agenda sent out to anyone or anything at all. He very much just showed up and just started talking about, hey, anything about like in-game goals the players wanted to make or the one player wanted to make. And it wasn't like not a whole lot of structure at all to it. I did think there was very good virtual facilitation. He made sure that everyone like introduced themselves, even myself, made sure that I introduced myself to stuff. He asked questions directly at each individual, made sure that everyone answered like that question. And even when he was talking about like goals and like thoughts on the team, like, ways to get word out more about the club and about, like having more people join the team, he made sure they get lots of input from other people, made sure that we were comfortable with like sharing and that we could share our thoughts. So I thought even though the meeting was not like very formal and didn't have a whole lot of structure, I think the virtual facilitation was very well done from the coach. In leadership, I found the coach to have a little bit have a functional and transformative style of leadership. He was very focused on like the player have like a goal to be set for playing to become a better player. Just a lot of stuff in game, like CS numbers and that sort of thing. Make sure that, he was very pushing in that. And it was also very motivational for them to attain the goals as well. He very much was focused on, how to push us to attain those goals and to pull in things from outside sources to also help us attain those goals. One thing he did is for the team is that he subscribed, he paid for like a website which has a bunch of tips and videos from pros and high ranking people in the game of League of Legends that allowed us to learn more that he might not be able to teach us. He also showed deck leadership by playing the game and learning with the team. He's not originally a League player. He comes from another game called Dota 2. And so he would play with the team and he would kind of learn along the way. And, he'd be like, okay, I'm kind of struggling with this. What do you guys think on this? And it was very much on the deck with us and kind of learning along the way. And like I said, that goes with great self-awareness with him as a leader. And not having a lot of League background, it makes it a little difficult to kind of coach League. So again, bringing in that outside source of subscribing to another website, I thought it showed great self-awareness of his ability to actually coach this team and kind of know his limitations on that. I also think he built a strong community built within this. It is a very small group, so it could be hard if you don't have a strong community and like everyone a lot to work in a group of 4 people over and over again. And so I thought there was a very strong community. When I joined, it felt very warm and welcoming. I didn't feel like an outsider. I felt like I could talk in the group and express myself if we wanted to. And they seemed like a very tight-knit group. They seemed to get along very well. They seemed to sometimes hang out outside of practice as well. They were a very tight-knit group and knew each other really well. So key concepts was functional and transformative leadership, how the leader, the coach showed that, deck leadership and working with the team and stuff and being with us and the community, just having that sense of a good community, I think is really important. And then that's my observation of the EU League of Legends team. Thank you for listening. And if any of you play League, you're interested in having more players, since I've now joined it. And we need a full team because it makes it really hard to hold a practice with not a full team of members. So thank you.
Thanks, JP. I'll keep things brief so we can move to the last 2. But I thought you did a great job here of describing the sort of leadership and organization of this team. I like the idea that you had somebody who's not an expert, but was able to lean in and learn and bring experience from another game to the table, right? That style of knowing your limits, knowing where you're not an expert can be a really great thing to help members of the group work together effectively. Really great job there. Incidentally, I used to play League of Legends a little bit. I was a LeBlanc main and then a Uno main that annoyed people with little mushrooms in the bushes. So, other than that. All right, Josie, whenever you're ready, you're welcome to get us started.
Okay, so the group that I chose was actually Antlers Espresso in LeGrand. So I just happen to know the owner and most of the employees. So I thought it'd be pretty interesting. They had a meeting coming up and they only have them a couple times a year. So I was like, might as well. So some of the basic information, there's a couple locations in town. They're one of the only local coffee shops that we have, and they're definitely the most popular one. Dutch Bros and Starbucks are the only other coffee shops that are busier than Antlers, but they're more commercial anyway. So there were 10 members, 3 of which were newer. So that was interesting to see the integration with 3 new members, and then also the manager that had been managing for 5 years, he was stepping down. So that was also very interesting to see, just that transition. So the meeting was on March 1st at 6 p.m. Jenna Russell's house, which is the owner. Food was provided. All the employees attended, and I chose it because I knew most of them and it was pretty interesting. So the new members, the 3 new ones, they seemed very comfortable. They were able to speak up, and it was a very informal meeting. So things like Robert's Rules of Order and things like that, there was nothing like that. It was all most of them hang out outside of, well, not class, but outside of work. And so they all just really love coffee. And so, yeah, so it was very informal, very relaxed. Jenna did a great job at staying friendly. So it's like she's your best friend, but also she gets stuff done. So it's actually super interesting to see. Because if you ask any one of them, she's like the best boss ever. But also if you ask any one of them, it's like, yeah, don't mess with her kind of a thing. Like, this is how things go, you know? So yeah, during the meeting, the leadership styles were very kind yet effective. So Jenna led the meeting. She had sort of like an itinerary. It was like 5 pages long. And then Daniel, the manager, gave significant input. You could definitely tell that he was the manager. The dynamic was interesting to observe because he had been a manager for such a long period of time. So now he's going to go work at a dealership. And then one of the other girls that have been working there for 3 years is going to take his spot, but they were all very positive about it and they were all very excited about the transition. They're renovating the inside of the shop and everything. So it's sort of like a whole new start kind of a thing. And they've been open for 10 years. They've opened 2 locations. So yeah, all of the conversation was very casual. Everybody was very comfortable to speak up, and the meeting started with positive notes and then moved on to things that they can work on. So I thought that that structure was really important because it was on a really positive note. And then even as she delivered the other information, it was all really positive, just reminders sort of a deal. So nobody was really like in trouble and nobody felt attacked or anything. And it was mostly just working on taking criticism. So yep, and I put that Daniel and Jenna are both emergent leaders because Jenna emerged to open her own shop. She'd been working in coffee like her whole life, and then Daniel emerged to manage one of the shops. So that was great. They all have intrinsic motivation. They all really like their jobs. They love coffee and people, and all of the customers that they see during the day are people that are there twice a day, pretty much, and they come back every single day. And so the customers pretty much show up and their drink is already ready for them, and that's why they choose Antlers. So overall, it was a great experience, very insightful, and it was great to see these people work together and be able to communicate effectively, but still have that informality was pretty interesting. So yeah, and then those are just my sources. So yeah.
All right. Let's go see. I thought you did a great job here. I feel like every time I drive up to campus, their line is packed. There's some people in the drive-through, so they're doing something right. You did a great job here of describing how the informality and more relaxed structure really helped the organization of the group work effectively. I also really like the way that you talk about how the organization of the group started positively, right? And how that positive framing helped the group to create a good structure, behavior, organization, all of that good stuff. So I think the overall structure, organization that you pointed to for the group, I think were great to explain what all was working effectively. Sorry about that, Lily. I got your note, but for some reason forgot the update list. So we've got plenty of time to get you in. Yeah, you can use the arrows or you can use the click.
So the group I did was the ASEU group, which is our like our student government here on campus. So like what is ASEU group? It's like it has 8 senators, 4 directors, and 2 justices. And they're like advocates for the students. I know they also have like an open suggestion box like outside their office. They're like very like open and like welcoming to like any new ideas or anything. And I chose this group because I have been like attending their meetings, like not because I'm interested in like any position in the ASU group, but because like I want to be more aware of like what's going on campus. So like I was kind of already like attending their meetings, you know. Their meeting place is like it's like hybrid in a way. There's like some on Zoom, some in Akron here, and it like depends on like the time or like some people just can't make it in person, so they decided to have it like both. And they meet on Thursdays at 7. And I wanted to like pick something like more formal, because I feel like most of the meetings I have, I'm usually like leading them, and they're like very like laid back, not really like as formal. During the meeting, they did have like an agenda, they had like meeting minutes, and then they had to like get approved before they could even like continue. They use a lot of like the Robert's rules, and the group dynamic was, it was led by the president, so like she was like conducting everything, so she was like a leader, like the conductor, as a conductor. It was like very professional, like the way they spoke, like the manner they like everything was, it was just, the meetings were always like very like professional after like the icebreaker. They're like, when the floor was like open for discussion or like opinions or anything, they were like very, they didn't really like interrupt each other, but they were like very like respectful when they were like, had like different opinions or like just didn't agree. And I think that that's a very, like it's very insightful for like everyone to like get their ideas out or like be heard. So when they like had to vote on something, they had to like be approved, had to like be in the agenda. And I think somebody made like a point, like it was even written like in the minute notes at the bottom that said like, you cannot like change, someone made it a point, like don't change the agenda or like don't discuss something that's not on the agenda. That's why it gets approved like before the meeting. And when they like vote, it's usually like majority vote, like everyone has a say, or it's or sometimes it's just like someone has to like second the motion or like the vote, and then like they'll like continue from there. Relating to the text, they did use like Robert's Rule of Order, and they were like very like professional and formal in that way. So the way like it was like hosted, it felt like, I don't know, you wouldn't like imagine these were like 20-year-olds that were hosting the meeting, like they like sounded like adults, like adults. So I feel like something that like affected the group was that like groupthink could have been happening, because if you like oppose something, you have to like be vocal about it, like in the group. And like the way the group set up is like they are kind of like all like facing each other in a way. And the president is leading. So like if anyone like opposes, you have to like speak up in front of everyone. And I can see how like a lot of people just like be like submissive in a way where they'll just be like, okay, like I'll give in because no one else is saying anything. So I feel like a lot of ideas could probably be like not heard in that way. And in the icebreakers, I think what could have been done different was that they could have included people in Zoom, because there was a couple people like in like the Zoom thing that like weren't included in like anything. So I think that that could be changed for like further discussion. Any questions?
So this is more like the presidency on the votes?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't find like who won the votes or anything.
This one?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think they've been that public or anything. Yeah, I just know that closing, like the voting closed already.
Interesting. All right, well, I guess we'll see. Great job. All right. Thanks for wrapping up for today, Lily. I thought you did a great job of talking about how the formal structure of the DOU allows for things like Robert's rules and some of those formal elements of the organization. I also liked how you talked about the challenges of hosting simultaneously, right, through Zoom and face-to-face. I've been there, but it can definitely raise some unique concerns about getting people able to access and openly participate. So awesome work for this round of presentations. Let's do another quick round of applause for everybody. Awesome work. Go ahead and pass forward or email me your observations if you did not present today. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Enjoy the rest of Safe Spring, and we'll have our next presentations on Friday.
Yeah, practice.